special edition of Tech Tuesday. And joining us out of Washington, D.C. live is Harry Brelsford from SMB Nation. Harry, if you would, tell our audience what's going on in Washington, D.C.
I sure will. Well, thanks for having me on again. Harry Brelsford, SMB Nation. I am at the CompTIA ChannelCon conference in the heart of Washington, D.C. Very nice neighborhood up by the National Zoo. And for those that don't know, CompTIA is a leading trade organization. And Kevin would tell you they have three pillars. I'm here mainly to talk to computer resellers, consultants, and VARs is another word we use, and MSPs is a word we use. And I'm entrance for that. But on the other hand, CompTIA is well known for their security certifications. So if you want to work for the Department of Defense, you've got to complete a CompTIA security certification. And then almost everybody in the tech industry knows of their famous certification called the A+ for technicians. And then they have a third, Kevin. Well, I have workforce training and helping people break into this industry. That's very interesting. And then they also have a political function in Washington, D.C. to represent the industry's interest, if that makes sense. That's what I'm doing.
All right, perfect. So for a short little piece of housekeeping for people that are tuning into the broadcast here and they'd like to come to the CompTIA event that you're at in Washington, D.C., and want to show up as your guest, Harry, SMB Nation, you have a link for people to get free tickets into the event. And this is actually worth several $100 because this conference is not cheap. If you would, share that with people.
Exactly. And what you can do, quite frankly, Kevin, it's easy. Just email me at my full name, Harry Brelsford @gmail.com. If you have an opportunity to put that up on the screen, thank you. But again, Harry Brelsford @gmail.com. And I'm happy. I believe I can get up to 10 tickets. I'm out here manning the SMB Nation booth, as you can see, and people behind me and a trade show going on, kind of thing.
So everything kicks off there this evening, correct?
Love to get
kicks off there this evening and then runs through August 2nd. So give everybody a snapshot of what they can expect to see should they attend.
Yeah, so, think of it first and foremost, I would think of lecture, okay? And if you have a chance to look at the speaker screen, you'll see that we have industry leaders, as you would expect in a trade association. And so, Kevin, it's really interesting because they talk primarily about business topics related to technology. You and I have had that conversation before. This is not the most technical conference. And so you can come learn about the technology business if you're new to it. And if you're experienced, you could learn what are some of the mega trends, some of the emerging trends, security in particular. And it is, just to clarify, it's between now, the 31st of July, and late afternoon, August 1st, Thursday. I'm sorry, August 2nd, Kevin. I'm glad I'm looking at the schedule.
No problem. So starting today, July 31st, and through August 2nd, I have to give a little shout out to my 4-year-old daughter. She is actually turning 4 today. So happy birthday, Jackie. I've said it many times, but she'll be very proud that I said it here on the show.
Yeah,
right,
there you go.
You are there, Harry, in a media capacity, correct?
I am. That's right.
So talk a bit about your role at CompTIA.
Well, here's the way I look at it. When I attend a conference as a blogger, an analyst, a media personality, my goal is to talk to maybe 3 of the different participants, right? Think again, let's go back to that stool paradigm. Number 1, the attendees. I want to talk to 1 attendee per day. So that's going to be attendee interviews. And I want to find what's on they making money and what concerns. I want to talk to 3 vendors. And remember, vendors are part of the technology ecosystem, right? That, well, I'm from Seattle, so the natural act is Microsoft, right? I mean, it's a natural act. And we have to have, they're doing something. Then CompTIA Association executives, and the reason associations are very contemporary, in my opinion, right? They're staying up on issues. They're staying up on national issues. The certain me in Washington, D.C. on short notice, you really get in a transition in technology and see the next level. Yeah. So I'm here to do 3 interviews a day. That's the short story as a media personality of 3 different types of people. But the last one I keyed in on was the CompTIA Trade Association itself. And I'm just encouraging all of your listeners to get involved in user groups and trade associations. It takes you to the next level, right? It really involved in the industry. Kyle, I don't know if you've had a chance to show the viewers some of the speakers on that lineup, but those are industry leaders, right? I mean, that's kind of the whole point, is you actually get to hear from them. More importantly, guys, you get to meet them. It yields incredible dividends in a career. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so first of all, we see here is they got kind of the resellers. They tend to bring 2 or 3 people to the event. And Kyle, it's exactly for that reason, because you can send one person over to lecture A, another person over to lecture B. And so that's how we tend to contend with that. And then the other thing is I always recommend you make conferences part of your professional life, associations, your professional life, 1 day early. I came in 1 day early. And gentlemen, it's for that very reason that you need to get the agenda and lay it out. And I'm a little old school. I circle it on the agenda. But Kyle, if you notice on the app, you can actually say, I will attend, right? It allows you to build your schedule for which ones to go to. Now, to answer your question about which sessions I recommend, so first and foremost would be security. As you might imagine, we're in Washington, D.C. Cybersecurity is an enormous issue, has been, always will be. CompTIA, that's one of their core strengths of all they do, in my humble opinion, is the security training, message certification, must do. Closely after those lectures, I would recommend Block, okay, which is public, that's sort of the foundation for cryptocurrency. Ones let's talk about the ones I'm not as excited about, and I mean this respectfully, but sometimes there's these high level things about the industry that, gentlemen, you sometimes feel it's more for the people on stage than the audience. I'm not going to name sessions, of course, but I do ask that attendees be discerning, right? Be discerning about what lectures you go to and what adds real value. Is that fair? Absolutely. I mean, we've been saying forever, security, security, security. But, you know, that was always, again, it was simplistic. It was antivirus. It was high level talk. Do we need security? Yes, we do. Much more granular. And so the opportunities go to, I guess the best analogy is the medical community, that if we think of technology as the healthcare profession, that's a huge profession. And within healthcare, you would have, by analogy, you would have an area called security. And then within security, you have various. And I guess how I'd ultimately answer it is that security is good for both those of us that want the security of a paycheck and a job, okay? And trust me, there's days I'm jealous of that. I'm an entrepreneur. So in fact, tomorrow's the first, it's payroll. So, you know, I understand, you know, there's something to be said for just getting a paycheck. So think about it, Kevin and Kyle. You could work for a defense contractor, right, and probably have a fairly lucrative career. On the other hand, we have a lot of entrepreneurs who are coming up with, there's a gentleman here who has a company, I'll have to go find him on the floor. It has the name Wolf in it, like the Canadian Wolf. He's out of Canada. And what they do is, one of my attendees just handed me a glass of water.
No, it's not water.
There we go. Good to see you, Jay. On the entrepreneur, Audit Wolf, and it does basically an interrogation of Azure and cloud computing for your security fitness. Kevin and Kyle, that's an example of an entrepreneur, right? So it's a huge field. Well, you know, let me append my other statement that a friend of mine, Carl Palachuk, another analyst, we all know each other. He did a blog a couple of years ago about you should come into a conference a day early and you should stay a day late. And so that's kind of made this a 5 or 6 day trip for me by design. And Kevin, the reason is you get in a day early, time zone change, Kyle schedule on what to attend. The day after, the reason you want to stay a day after is because you want to go have coffee or conversations with the people you meet. And Kevin, that gets me to my main point, that to me, the benefit of a conference, you come, you go to lecture, you get excited. We call it the suntan effect. You meet the vendors. But at the end of the day, build as a technical professional, that, you know, lo and behold, if you come to this thing 10 years in a row, to come to this one for about a decade, you know a lot of people, and it only helps your career. It's kind of like a living LinkedIn, right? And the takeaway is hallway 101, because Kevin, companies come and go, technologies come and go. Sheesh, you know, booths are here this year, they're missing next year. It's not the point. So that's my recommendation is Hallway 101. And let's just say a lot of business, and a lot of business. Yeah. Not only that, and a relationship just walked up, gentlemen. If you don't want to, if you don't mind, let's talk to an attendee for you to join me. And Joshua, we're on Digital News Northwest Live broadcasting. Oh. That's Kyle Kevin out of their studios in the state of Washington.
KKK.
And they've invited me on for Tech Tuesday. So I get to talk with them every Tuesday.
Okay.
So let me just turn the camera a little bit. Before I introduce Joshua, I just want to check off on that. So Kevin, one of my secrets to success is, yes, networking, relationships, but also to your professor's point, I would offer parroting. And parroting is entirely, a good consultant knows how to parrot, right? You come to these conferences and you go to lecture and you pick up some nuggets on blockchain or security, and you go back to your hometown and someone asks you a question, you know, for lack of a better word, regurgitate the answer. But this stuff works, and it's okay. You have permission to parrot.
That's good. Okay. So, you've mixed your metaphors there.
So, Joshua, you'll need to speak up a little bit. But,
okay.
If you could tell us, why are you at CompTIA? First of all, what line of work are you in? Maybe the top 3 reasons you're at CompTIA.
Okay. So I run a business called Net Sciences in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're mostly focused on IT, but we're a broad-based MSP, about 23 years old, the business, not me. So I'm here primarily in this order to learn, to network, and to schmooze, or maybe not necessarily in that order. And actually didn't even know I was doing this, and I wish I'd have brushed my teeth.
Yeah, and again, I'll tell you what, it's getting a little busy here, gentlemen. If you don't mind, we should probably be polite and start to bring this to an end. But Kyle, if you're able to somehow magically put my email address on the screen, some tickets if you want to email me to attend CompTIA, and/or I'm happy to meet you outside the venue. I practice what I preach. I built my career.
How I know just about 20 years ago.
Yeah, and he's so photographer world travel. All good. All right. Gentlemen, have a nice week. Thank you very much.